Hey guys, in this video, we're going to run through the absolute basics of how to improvise for those of you who have zero experience in improvising on the piano. Before we begin, we first need to choose a key signature and a time signature. To simplify things, let's use C major as our key signature, so we don't need to deal with black keys, and a 4/4 time signature, which happens to be the most common time signature. To start off, we need to choose a chord progression to work with. When we improvise, we essentially improvise the melody using our right hand, but play an existing chord progression using our left hand. We can pick any chord progression that works, but for this video, let's use the C, G, A minor F chord progression, the most commonly used chord progression across pop songs. After choosing a chord progression, the next step will be to play the progression using a left hand, according to our chosen time signature 4/4, which means 4 crotchet beats per bar. As such, we play each chord 4 times in a bar, like this. Of course, improvisation is not limited to this. When you get better, do try different accompaniment patterns and see what clicks with you, but for now, we'll stick with basic chords to simplify things. From this point onwards, we'll be running through the actual improvisation part, and taking a look at some rules for improvising a melody with our right hand. Let's dive into it. Using the chord progression as our base, our next job as complete beginners will be to play a bunch of notes in our right hand and hope it doesn't sound like crap. At this point, we are playing one note per bar using our right hand, which lands at the same time as the chord. And the first thing we need to know is that the notes inside the chord will always work. For instance, if the current chord is a C major chord, C, E, and G will always work. And if the current chord is a G major chord, G, B, and D will always work, and so on. Let's put this into practice. Here, I start with a C major chord, so for my melody note, either C, E, or G works, so I'm just going to go with an E. My next chord is a G major chord, so either G, B, or D works, so I'll just go with a D. Next, we have an A minor chord, so either A, C, or E works, so I think I'll go with a C. And finally, we have an F major chord, so either F, A, or C works, so I'll just go with an A. We play each of these melody notes together with the chord progression, and this is how our improvisation sounds as of now. Of course, we don't want our melody to just contain one note per bar, so we need some rhythm here. Whatever rhythm we use is more flexible than what notes we decide to play together with a chord, as any rhythm kind of works, as long as you're not deliberately trying to sound weird. One simple exercise for you to practice improvising rhythms would be to select one note per chord, and play only that note per chord, using whatever rhythm you wish to use. Do give this a shot, and you might even come up with some cool rhythms that you can reuse in the future. For the sake of simplifying the next example, let's use this simple rhythm from now on instead. Now, since we have applied a rhythm to our improvisation, we have more than one note per bar, but each bar only has one type of note. For instance, in our first bar, we have 3 notes in total, but they are all E. Let's make it such that each bar also contains more than one type of note, so that there is a movement in terms of both rhythm and melody. The first rule from just now still applies here. At the start of each chord, we won't go wrong if we play a note inside the chord. But what about the other notes that happen after the start of each chord? As a rule of thumb, these notes tend to be more flexible, and any note that is in our home key can generally work. In this case, our home key is in C major, which contains C, D, E, F, G, A, and B, so any of these notes should kind of work. Here's how our improvisation sounds as of now. Once again, as the purpose of this video is just to get you started with improvising, these steps apply more to those who have little to no experience with improvisation. None of these rules apply further down the road when you become a seasoned improviser, but for now, if you're just starting out, these rules add some initial structure to your improvisation, so do try to follow them. Of course, there's much more than this that you can apply to your improvisation, such as more interesting accompaniment patterns, chromatic chords, harmony in your right hand, passing notes, and many more. I'll cover much more on all these concepts in a series of future videos, so do stay tuned. I'll leave you with some improvisation exercises here for you to practice on. In these exercises, some of the melody notes as well as the chords are written out for you. Notice the rhythms in some of the bars which are not attached to any notes, and your job here is to fill in the notes and try to make this sound nice. That being said, while both the steps stated just now and these exercises write out a bunch of notes and steps for you to follow, the end game is being able to improvise and do all this without needing anyone to write out anything for you. Everything here exists for the sole purpose of enforcing some sort of structure to help beginner improvisers get started. So if you're comfortable enough, which is a good thing, do feel free to change stuff that is written out for you in these exercises if you wish to. With that, thanks for watching, and I hope this video has given value to you in some way. If it has, do consider giving it a like and subscribe if you haven't already, as it really helps this channel out in the long run. I'll see you in the next video.